We all know that sitting at a desk all day is not going to be the best for our bodies. Desk workers that are sitting from 6 to 8 plus hours a day are experiencing lower back pain and sciatica at alarming rates. Now, sciatica, for those of you who don't know, is going to be referring to the sciatic nerve that runs from the sacrum and the lower lumbar spine down the back of the leg to about the heel area. So sciatica is the pain, tingling, and numbness along that path. Now, sciatica can be caused by many different things, but one of the main ones for seated desk workers is going to be what we call piriformis syndrome. Now, piriformis syndrome is referring to the piriformis muscle, which attaches from the sacrum, this region right here, over to the leg bone. Now, the piriformis muscle and the sciatic nerve are best friends. They run right next to each other, and in very small populations of people, they run through each other. So if we're sitting all day, that piriformis muscle is going to be tight, taut, and tender, and then the associated nerve that's right next to it, the sciatic nerve, is not going to be very happy. Now, changing your environment in this instance is going to be really important so that whatever care you're getting is going to be more effective instead of 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Whether advocating for a standing desk so you can stand and sit, or just getting up and going for walks every 30, 45, or 60 minutes is going to be really important to keep the lower body moving and then everything balanced. Chiropractic in this instance is going to be extremely important for 2 reasons. The first one is that the sciatic nerve runs from the sacrum and the lower lumbar spine. We want to keep those channels free and open so that nerve can function and flow freely. Also, the piriformis muscle attaches directly to the sacrum. So if the sacrum is off in any capacity, that muscle is going to be imbalanced, tight on one side and loose on the other. So balancing the structures of the lower spine and the pelvis is going to provide to be extremely effective for this condition. What you can also do, which I'm about to show you, are 3 things that you can do at home that'll help to supplement your care, whether from a PT, a chiropractor, a massage therapist, etc., but also help to kind of combat some of that seated desk work that we're doing through the day. So the first stretch we're going to go through is the piriformis stretch. Now we want to lengthen the piriformis and give it a little bit of ease, not only for the muscle itself, but also for the sciatic nerve that's running right next to it. And we can do this pretty effectively with this stretch. So you want to be on the floor for this one. If you have a mat or a carpet, it works really well, just kind of giving you some softness underneath you. Both of these legs are going to be straight out in front of you. You're going to take one leg, bend it, and put it on the outside of the straight leg. You're then going to take your fingers, interlace them, place them on the outside of the bent knee, and bring that bent knee in towards the opposite shoulder. Making sure that you're as upright as you can is also going to be really effective for this, and it's going to make it a little bit harder. But you'll feel this stretch in one specific spot on the outside of your glute, which is going to be where the piriformis muscle is. And you can hold this position taking nice deep breaths for about 30 to 60 seconds, release for about 10 seconds, and then bring it back in again for about 30 to 45 to 60 seconds, kind of going in rounds of like 2 to 4, and then switching legs to get both sides. So this is a stretch that we can do when we get up in the morning and when we go to bed at night, and the only thing that it requires is a bench or a bed or whatever surface is about mid-thigh height. So this is pigeon on an elevated surface, and this is going to help to stretch and lengthen some of the glute muscles and also give a little bit of mobilization to the hip. So this is going to feel really good for people that sit all day. So with your bed or bench right in front of you, back yourself up to about maybe a foot or a foot and a half distance away from it, just to give yourself some sort of foundation. Place one of your feet up on the bed or bench. Let your leg fall in external rotation so that the side of the leg and the knee are on the bed or the bench. Back yourself up a little bit so you have a little bit of room here. This knee is going to be at a 90-degree angle, and what we're going to do is just bend forward nice and slow, getting as close to the bed as we can without any sort of excruciating pain, sharpness, or any sort of extreme discomfort in this position. Now, if we're sitting all day, this is going to be really tight, maybe a little bit tender, so just move really slow through it. Take a couple of deep breaths in this position. But the idea here is the more upright that you are, the easier it's going to be. The more close to the bench, your leg, the bed, whatever it is, the harder it's going to be. So you can hold this position for about 30, 45, or 60 seconds, taking nice deep breaths through this and coming out of it nice and slow, switching legs. One thing that we can do to release the musculature of the piriformis muscle is going to be using some tools. Now, most people have a foam roller in the house, and foam rollers are great. They're not very specific though. So rolling out the glutes and the lower back is going to feel really good, and it's going to also be really good at those general areas. But we're wanting something a little bit more specific. So in this case, a lacrosse ball is going to be a lot better for us. If you don't have a lacrosse ball at home, they're really cheap to pick up. I highly recommend getting one just for the house. You can roll your feet out on it, that feels really good. You can get some trigger point therapy between the shoulder blades, but in this case, we're doing the piriformis muscle. So I like to be in this position right here, sitting on my butt with the leg that I'm working on in a figure 4 position underneath the straight leg. I don't know why I like doing that, that's just the way I like doing it. Take your lacrosse ball and put it right on the side of your hip. Take your hands here, lift your butt up, and then place your butt cheek right on that lacrosse ball. Now to find the piriformis muscle, we want to be kind of like halfway down the butt itself. And then we're gonna just roll ourselves over so that the lacrosse ball is right in the middle, right where our sacrum is. Then we're gonna slowly roll our bodies away from the ball so that the ball is then rolling towards the leg itself. We're tracing the path of the piriformis muscle itself. Now, there are certain spots and areas, like right there for me is not the most comfortable, where I'm just gonna sit on that and release the muscle with the help of gravity. Now you can, if it's a little bit too painful for you, you can put more pressure in your wrists to lift more of the weight off of the lacrosse ball. If you're wanting a little bit more intensity, you can then take some weight off your hands. But take it in stride, take what feels good for you. You can do a couple passes on this, and you'll feel at some point when you feel complete, where the muscle just either feels like it's had enough or your brain has had enough of this torture. It's really intense, but it's gonna be really effective at kind of releasing some of those trigger points, some of that stuckness within that muscle on both sides. So like we said before, it's really important to understand why we're in this position in the first place and what we can do to change our environment and life so that this doesn't keep happening or come back in the future. So yes, the care that we're experiencing, that we're getting from a chiropractor, a PT, a massage therapist, etc., is gonna be really important at giving us a base and level foundation moving forward. Changing our environment at work is going to make sure that we're not going 2 steps forward and 1 step back with this condition and many more. My name is Dr. Paul. I'm the sports and family chiropractor here at Koru Chiropractic in Louisville, Colorado. If you're in the Denver metro area and you're experiencing some sort of either lower back pain, sciatica, or piriformis syndrome, call on over to Koru Chiropractic. If you're not in the Denver metro area, I definitely recommend going to see a chiropractor for sciatica and any sort of condition that's causing sciatica.